Good morning, everybody. Good to see all of you today. What's up, man? 70 days between now and September 8th. And I don't know, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but I have kind of a goal this summer. So some of you guys might notice about Isaac. Isaac does ninja stuff. And so a little bit ago in the competition, you got second place, third place? Second place in a competition. Let's give it up. Silver medal. Pretty decent. Pretty amazing at it. He took me to Ninja Lab once. I was real bad at it. But I got 70 days. And so at the end of that September 8th, I'm not going to be you, but I would like to be more thriving, flourishing. I would like to see some fruit being born in my ninja skills. So you aren't prepared for this, but what would you recommend that I do over the next 70 days if that was my goal, is to really get a lot better at ninja?
I'd say you should go to the Ninja Lab and work out with other guys twice a week.
Twice a week, okay.
And 3 or 4 times a week at least, you're going to be working out at your house. Pull-ups, push-ups, get some grips to hang on, just practice dead hangs and work on your upper body.
All right, that's too hard. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Hey, friend. It was amazing. You're really good. You probably don't even know this. I took piano lessons. When I was in 3rd grade, and I don't remember any of it. But I watch you, and it's pretty amazing up there, like what you do. And so 70 days, I'm not going to be you, obviously, but if I wanted to be able to play the piano in a more thriving, flourishing, if I wanted to see fruit starting to come from my efforts of being a better piano player, and I have 70 days, what would you recommend?
Any challenge that you take on in life requires a lot of discipline. So you would need to get some great instruction and be disciplined to work at it to get stronger.
I like it. All right. I'm still not going to do that. That sounds way too hard. Okay. So what I want to do, what I would love all of you guys to do, is what that song just talked about. You have brought me deeper. You have called me higher. What I believe for every single one of us is that God is calling each of us, and God wants us to have a full life. God wants you to experience all that he has in the world. We talk that church is not a building, it is a group of people, and we want to love Jesus, we want to love each other, and we want to love the world. And we talk about those, not just pulling them out of the air, but because we believe that those are the secret to a full life. To love Jesus, to spend time with Jesus, to have real relationships with other people, and to be making a difference in the world. That is the full life. And I have a lot of confidence that over the next 70 days, if we wanted to, we all have the ability to make strides. We're not going to get all the way there. This is a lifelong pursuit. But between now and September 8th, and I know September 8th isn't the real end of the summer, but for all of us, after Labor Day, it's like, okay, it's fall now. Time to pick some pumpkins and let's move on. But between now and September 8th, if we wanted to take some real steps to be more thriving in our relationship with Jesus, if we wanted to see more flourishing on our relationships with other people, if you wanted to see fruit getting born about the impact you are having on this world, you have the ability to make it happen. But it's not going to just happen magically. You're not going to just wake up on September 8th and just find that you are in a far different place, just like I'm not going to wake up on September 8th and be magically good at ninja or magically good at piano or magically good at anything in my life. I would have to focus and decide. And so if you, at any level, want to grow this summer, then here is Jesus' big plan of how we grow, not just for the summer, but for always. We read this last week. This comes from John chapter 15. Jesus says, "Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me." So we did this quiz last week, so you've had a week to study now. So pop quiz. What is Jesus' big goal that he is talking about here? He wants us to what? That's the how. What does he want us to do? What's the goal? Bear fruit. Yeah, that's Jesus' goal. He wants to see you bear fruit in your life. He wants to see you actually move forward. That is very possible. And now, what is the plan of how he wants you to do that? He wants you to remain. He wants you to show up at the gym twice a month. He wants twice a month, twice a week. He wants you to have discipline. He wants you to practice. He wants you to get into a flow of, I'm going to spend regular time around you, because the more time I spend with you, the more it's going to change me. Jesus goes on. He says, I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you remain in me, and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. 2 weeks ago, we had a microburst storm in Albany. It was like a weird storm. How many of you guys experienced the storm? You're actually around for it? And how many you totally missed it? It was very pocketed, right here in Albany, which is kind of crazy. But right here in Albany, it was all of a sudden we got a ton of rain, and there was trees down everywhere. We had 2 trees down on this property, all over St. Rose, trees everywhere. So now all of a sudden there was these huge branches from these trees that were now disconnected to their source. What's the chances that if I was to go and pick up one of those branches and just lay it in my yard, that at the end of the summer, it's going to have beautiful, nice green leaves coming off of it? If it was an apple tree and the branch fell off, what's the chance it's going to have apples at the end? 0. Because the only way that a branch can bear fruit is if it stays connected. How are we to grow? To stay connected. He says, if you do not remain in me, if you're a branch that falls over because of a storm, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up and thrown into the fire and burned, as they all were over the last 2 weeks. Trucks going around picking them up. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. I want to steal all the thunder. Next Sunday when we get together, we're going to do a prayer walk. And so we're talking about bearing fruit. What does fruit look like? It looks like lots of different things. But this is kind of an interesting thing I think we don't think about, is if you remain in Jesus, it gives you this ability in prayer to kind of be able to ask God for the things that we most need, and God actually has the ability, according to what he's saying now, to make it happen. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As your Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. Jesus is saying all of this at what we call the Last Supper. And so pretty quick after this, Jesus is going to be arrested, he's going to be killed, and then he's going to be resurrected, he's going to hang out for a little while more, then he's going to go away. And these are these last words that are hanging out in their heads of my job is just to find a way to spend time with Jesus. For the last 3 years of their life, everywhere they had gone, every meal, every activity had been with Jesus. And Jesus is kind of painting this picture for them that as he's getting ready to leave, that it's possible to have that same kind of remain, that I can, wherever I'm going throughout my normal everyday life, that I can do it with Jesus. So what does it look like to remain in Jesus? He says, if you can keep my commands, you will remain in my love. What does it look like to remain in love? You keep his commands. Just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. What's one of the fruits? He wants us to have joy. Later on, a guy would come along named Paul, and Paul would lay out a lot of this fruit that it looks like he wants us to bear. And he would talk about peace and kindness and joy and self-control. And Paul would say that as a guy who was regularly being persecuted, who was writing letters from prison cells, saying that it's possible to live a life remaining in Jesus where you're bearing fruit of joy regardless of really difficult circumstances. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. What does it look like to keep all of his commands? It is to love other people. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. Well, what are all the commands boil down to? According to Jesus, and then later on, according to Paul. They all kind of boil down to this one command: to love other people. How do we remain in Jesus? Do we do it just as a solo sport and just find a way by ourselves? According to Jesus, the way we do it is by keeping his command. What's his command? We spend time intentionally loving other people. If you want to grow this summer, you're going to need other people. Other people to love, other people to love you. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. Everything that we want to know about God, we know by looking at Jesus. You do not choose me, but I choose you and appointed you so that you may go and bear fruit. That's the goal here. Fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command, in case you forgot: love each other. So that's Jesus' big plan, is I want you to remain in me. And if you remain in me, I want you to bear fruit. What does it look like to remain? I want you to love each other. So that's Jesus' big plan, and that's our plan this summer. If you want, over the next 70 days, to make some growth, some more flourishing, if you want to see some forward progress in loving Jesus each other, then you need to find a way to remain in Jesus, to love other people, and then, if you will, according to Jesus, you will bear much fruit. Now, for me, I bet for some of you, we need a little bit more practical than that, because that's great. But if we just all leave this room like, okay, I want to spend my summer, I'm going to remain more in Jesus. Like, okay, what does that look like tomorrow when I'm at work? What does that look like on the 4th of July when I'm blowing stuff up? Like, what does that look like in like real, actual life? Like, I need like kind of a game plan. And that's exactly what we want to talk about the rest of the time, and what we want to do this summer is we want to remain, we want to love each other. That's the goal. And everything else is a plan of how we want to do this. And let me be very clear, this is our plan. This isn't like straight from the Bible. This is a plan, and the goal of it is so we can better remain and love each other. But having a plan is so, so important. I love this quote. So one of our keywords, I have 2 keywords this summer: intentional and permission. We'll talk about permission later. Intentional. And this quote comes from Pete Gazzaro. He says, most Christians are not intentional, but rather function like cars on autopilot. And so when it comes to our lives, really all of our lives probably, but especially when it comes to better loving Jesus, loving each other, and love the world, a lot of us don't really have a plan of how we're going to get there. And Pete says that's a big problem, because he says what happens is our crammed schedules, our endless to-do list, our demanding jobs and families, constant noise, information, bombardment, and anxieties keep us speeding up and not slowing down. Is it any wonder that most people live off of other people's spirituality rather than taking the time to develop their own direct experience of God? Nurturing a growing, it's our goal, spirituality with depth in our present-day culture will require a thoughtful, conscious, intentional plan for our spiritual lives. And so I would like to invite you into our intentional, conscious plan for our spiritual lives this summer. And so on your chairs are lots of paper, which can serve as a fan, which is handy, but you can also read it, which is also nice. And so this orange sheet, that is our main plan for the summer. So we have a couple key tools that we are pointing us all towards, and I'll go through them briefly. So the first is that we want everybody to engage in our Sunday experiences. And so every Sunday this summer, we are going to get together as a whole group, and our goal when we get together is we want to do the stuff. So we think there's certain activities that are really helpful to be able to help us to better love Jesus, love each other, and love the world. And what we often do, and I don't think it's a bad thing, we're going to continue to keep doing it, is we will talk about here's what it looks like to do the thing, and we hope that when you go home, you do the thing. This summer, when you come, instead of just talking about doing the thing, we're going to actually do the thing together. And so next Sunday, if you come, I hope you come next Sunday. If you're not available for any of these, we'll have a little video online so you can do it from your campground or wherever you happen to be, and that's great. So next week when we come together, we're going to do a prayer walk, because we think one of the ways in which you remain in Jesus is spending time just praying about things that we see in our world. We're going to spend time, we're going to go outside. You can stay inside here if you want. And we're going to try to listen, because we believe God is always speaking to us, and if we quiet ourselves down enough, we can actually hear God speak. And so instead of just talking about that, I want you to, from your campsite next Sunday or here, we're all going to come together and we're going to listen to what God has to say to us. Then we're going to walk around or look out the windows, and we're going to see the things that God is doing. What are the things that God is doing good in our city? And what are the things that we think are maybe breaking God's heart? And we're going to spend time praying. And that's what we want us to do all the time. But instead of just talking about it, we're going to do it together. Sunday after that, we're going to have a gratitude Sunday. Your prayer was awesome, as always, Aaron. I just love all the gratitude and thankfulness. And we want to, I think the antidote for so much of the bitterness and sorrow of our world is to consciously be grateful and thankful and to celebrate. So instead of just talking about that, we're going to come together and we're going to do gratitude and celebration together. The week after that, we're going to have a picnic. Because one of the things of the way we remain in Jesus is by having a party. You remain in Jesus by having hot dogs with church family. You remain in Jesus by, we're going to play kickball, Isaac? Is that the idea? By playing kickball with church family. We want us to have fun. Joy should be a part of our lives. And joy might mean sitting with a couple lawn chairs under a shade tree and just talking. Might be eating some food. Might be playing games. But we're going to have a picnic because we don't want to just talk about joy. We want to actually have joy together. Week after that, we're going to do a service Sunday. So we're going to meet down at the Boys and Girls Club on Delaware Avenue. They have a list of projects because we want to make this world a better place. And there's amazing groups like the Boys and Girls Club that is loving and caring for the individuals and the youth and the families in our city. And so we want to come and use our time and our talents and maybe even some of our money to help push them forward. Week after that, we're going to share stories. My memory's going bad now. We're going to sing one Sunday. We're going to have another prayer walk. We're going to have a picnic. And each week, we're going to get together, and we are going to do these activities together. And there's such power in doing these together. And so I encourage you to take time to be able to do those. The next thing, for this one, you can skip all the way to the bottom of the back of the sheet there in individual practices. And this is really one of our big pushes for the summer, is this idea of what we call daily office and Sabbath. Is we want to all move forward this summer, take some real steps forward to regularly, I got to stop saying regularly, to daily. That's our goal, and we'll make progress. Some of us will get to daily. Some of us might not. There's tons of grace. But our goal, we want to get into the mode of daily spending time with Jesus. We want to have a set amount of time every day that we intentionally are remaining in Jesus, spending time with Jesus, trying to make sure we are locked into that vine so that then we can stay locked in throughout the rest of our day. And some of you are already great at this, and that is awesome, and you can help teach us this summer. Most of us are really bad at this or very sporadic at this. And so I think we can take time to grow this summer. The series we're going to look at is called Be Still, and that's it. We should have a time during the day where you sit, maybe not on a thing of water, or maybe on a thing of water, or walk, if walking's your thing, and have moments in your day where you just are still, where you breathe and you relax. And all of us, like Tim said, are at different levels of faith, and that's great. So some of you you believe that God is speaking, and so it's just a matter of making time for you to actually hear that God. Some of you, you're not sure whether God exists, and so it's going to be some moments of like, all right, let's see. Pressure's on, buddy. Let's see if this is real or not. Wherever you're at, take time to be still. And so we have a series that we're going to do. It's a 5 video series. And so there's 5 videos we want you to watch. Each of them is going to be 10 to 15 minutes. This is going to give you some practical, what the Bible has to say about it, and some practical skills about how we actually do that. You can watch those videos together as a group. We'll talk about that in a second, or you can watch them individually. Here's one of the things I really love about this study that this summer is for each week there is a practical challenge that we want you to do. So it's not just watching the video and think, oh, that sounds really nice. You watch the video and you say, okay, this is now challenging me to do this, and the hope is that we all actually do it. So here's the challenges in advance so you can decide if you want to do these or not. I want you all to do them. Week 1, this week, try setting a timer for 5 minutes every day to sit and be still in the presence of God. What if you did that this summer? If you made a practice, took the challenge, in 5 minutes, and for some of you, 5 minutes feels like, that's super easy. Some of you have given it a try. It's pretty hard to just sit there and just be still, and your phone's like, oh, you should look at me, and your kids, and it's 5 minutes. What does that look like? Week number 2, you're going to be challenged this week. Pick a Bible verse to memorize. You could even recite it to the rest of the group next week. Won't that be fun? You guys could all do this. Some of you already have some things memorized. Some of you don't. That's okay. You this summer could have a Bible verse memorized, and let's talk about the power of doing that. Week number 3. This week, at the beginning or end of your day, write down anything you saw that pointed you to the wonder of God. Most of it is a matter of slowing down, actually seeing what God has to do, but then taking time at the beginning of the day, end of the day, use your little note apps on your phone, use a journal, and write down what's something you saw God do, and then share it. Week number 4, this one's going to be fun. This week, try not to post anything on social media or stop using social media altogether. It's their exclamation point, not mine. Altogether. What if, you don't have to do this for the whole summer, but what if for this week, you just took a break and said, you know what? The world can move on without me. They can all complain about I'm taking a break. I don't need it for this week. And then the last one is to make a list of 5 people and commit to pray for them regularly, again, even daily. And so that's our hope, is that you not only watch those, but you engage in that. Now, for that to really work, what all of us need, if we're realistic about ourselves, is it's a nice idea. Okay, I'm going to watch these videos. I'm going to do these challenges. And maybe some of you are amazing, and maybe you are so self-disciplined, you could do it on your own. Even if you could, doing it on yourself is not the goal. For most of us, we need other people, and it's going to go so much better if you are doing this in community. So the other sheet that we have on there, says community groups equal intentional discipleship relationships. We want each of you to have a person or a couple people. For some of you, it might be just one other person, could be 2 people, maybe up to 8 or 10 people that are your people. And this summer, say, us all together, we are going to try to do these together. We're going to watch the videos together. Maybe you watch them before you meet. Maybe you meet them after you meet. We're going to watch these videos, and we're not just going to learn together. We're going to help each other apply. And I think all of us really need this for at least 3 reasons. One, I think we need the encouragement and the help to be able to do this. So we met at my house last night with some of the folks that I'm trying to do this with. And so I picked on Isaac before. I'll pick on him again. Isaac's in my group, so we were hanging out doing brunch yesterday. And we were talking about what does it look like for us to really spend time with Jesus. And I get so much out of it because like we have, a book that we read. In the summer, you're going to have videos. Sometimes the most helpful thing that I get is not from what an author said, not what a video said. It's what, in talking back and forth with a friend, it's something that Isaac says of, hey, here's how this has looked in my life. Here's what's been hard about it. Here's how I'm trying to apply it. And I need that extra encouragement and help to be able to do that. We need the accountability of others. There's a really good positive, key on positive pressure of knowing that you're going to get together with a group of people and they're going to ask you about this stuff, that they're doing it together, that you're texting about it during the week, that you're emailing each other, that you're sharing this together. We don't want this to be this is not a culture of shame. There's going to be times where it doesn't go well for us during the week, but to have the help of someone else is huge. And then lastly, to be able to have folks that we can celebrate this with. Because if you do these things, you're going to grow. For some of us, it might look like a little growth. For some of us, it might look like a lot of growth. But if you spend a week and take 5 minutes every day, and you're at the end to get together with the group and say, I actually did it, or I did it 6 out of the 7 days, like you need someone that you can high five with about that, because that's amazing. If you take time to get off social media, if you memorize the scripture, you need other people that can celebrate both what you did, but also as they keep watching you, and you need people that are pretty close so they can see, they're going to see changes starting to happen in you. If you remain in Jesus, you will produce fruit. And so we need folks to be able to help celebrate that. When we get together on the 14th of July, and when we get together twice in August, we're going to specifically take time to be able to share stories. And I'm so excited to hear the little and the big stories because we want to be able to celebrate together. And we need a group to be able to do that. So again, that's our idea for this summer. This is the plan of how we can help remain in Jesus. These Sunday experiences, this study, and doing it with a group, and all the rest of the stuff on there about CC Kids, that's about being in a group to learn how to be still together. Our teen study, we're going to be together with other teens because we're going to need to be able to do this together. And then here's how I want to end. Because for a lot of us, we can look at this, and I hope there's some level of I want to do that. I do want to grow this summer, but it's not easy. Again, one of our key words for this is most Christians are not intentional about it. We need a plan, so we want to have a plan. But even if we have a plan, just summer and life, there's just so many things that can prevent us from being a part of some of these activities. There's so many things that can draw us out of the vine of being attached to Jesus. Again, Pete gives some of them there, our crammed schedules, to-do lists, jobs, families. There's so many things that will prevent you from spending time with Jesus this summer. And so I'm going to give us a few moments to be able to talk about that. So I'm going to ask you to find a couple people around you. Feel free to move chairs. Try to have no more than 4, or else people won't get to share. So 2 to 4 people, and try to share as honestly as you can. As you look at the idea of remaining in Jesus this summer, as you look at the idea of loving other people, and as you look at using these Sunday experiences, taking time to learn how to be still and then actually doing it, as you think about taking time to actually be with other people, to be able to discuss and keep each other accountable and encourage and celebrate each other, what are the real life things that will prevent you from doing that, or it could prevent you from doing that? What are the possible hurdles? What are the possible barriers? So find a couple people and discuss that, and then I'll have a couple of you share, and then we're going to pray, and move on. So take a few minutes to talk about what are the things that will prevent you from moving forward with this this summer over the next 70 days. Find some friends and discuss.